right. Hello, everyone. This is Tracy from Brandco, and I want to welcome everyone to this Piggyback blog webinar. Today, we're going to be covering the SEO Yoast plugin that's located inside of your Piggyback blog. This plugin is available for everyone. It's already activated, so unlike the Jetpack plugin, where we've had to go into the plugins area in order to be able to activate it, it is actually already alive on our website and ready to go. We just need to be able to utilize it to its utmost ability. I get a lot of questions as far as SEO is concerned regarding your Piggyback blog, because we all know that it is our, the purpose of our Piggyback blog is SEO. But we need to know what SEO is in order to know what we're trying to achieve, right? So SEO is search engine optimization, meaning like if you look into Google for something and you get your results. Now, those results, their SEO is being taken into effect as far as like Google deciding whether or not it should recommend that specific website or that specific website page in order to answer someone's question. So the more pages you have on your website equals the more content you have on your website. The more content means that Google has a lot more to go through to decide whether or not your website is the one that it should recommend over someone else's. And that's what we want, right? We want everybody to be able to find us whenever they search for us on like Yahoo and Bing and Google, so that we don't have to market way more than we normally would, other than handing out business cards and marketing on our social media by sharing our blog posts and our website. But we need to keep adding to our website so that it has all that content for Google to search through. So the SEO Yoast plugin is very specific. It takes all that content and helps you make sure that you're focused and you're ready to go. Now, I will say that this is what I call gravy on your website. Now, your website, your content, all other kind of stuff that you do on a regular basis, like creating a new post, creating posts at least once a week, things like that. That's your meat and potatoes. You need that. The SEO Yoast plugin takes that extra mile so that you make sure that you have things like your meta description or your focus keyword and things like that in place so that your posts are focused and that you look good when you're found in search engines. So we're going to go over this plugin, and hopefully everybody learns about it and gets that understanding to where you're not scared of using it. After I do one of these, I usually get a lot of questions because people will start utilizing this plugin for the first time and then, revert back and go, okay, Tracy, I need help. So make sure if everybody could just respond and let me know that you're seeing my screen. You're going to see a long list of blog posts inside of a Piggyback blog. I just need to know that everybody's for sure seeing what I'm putting out here before we get going, and that you can hear me all clearly. So what I have is a blog post that I wrote for our brandco.com website. So I've copied it and pasted it in here. Now, if you have read anything or if I've talked to you about taking content from another website, you probably know already that that was technically a big no-no. But I'm not trying to earn SEO for this actual Piggyback blog that I use, because it's a demo site, and that demo site is meant for me to be able to show things to you. So I just needed content so that I could show you how we would fill out that area in the SEO Yoast plugin that you see at the bottom of all your pages and posts whenever you're creating them inside of your Piggyback blog. So the blog post is called Choosing a Real Estate Domain, and you can see all my content in here already ready to go. But if you look over here to the side, we see our blacked out SEO NA check. The only reason why this is blacked out is because I have not included a focus keyword yet. So it doesn't know if my SEO is on point or not. It doesn't know if I did a good job at focusing in on a specific topic. But once I fill in my focus keyword, then it'll have an idea. Now, before I fill out any of this SEO Yoast area, you'll notice that it has a snippet preview. Now, this looks kind of familiar when you do searching in Google or Yahoo or Bing, then you see a result like this that will show your title, your URL, and a little bit of content below it. That content area is exactly 156 characters. So if it's going to grab by default, it's going to pull the first 156 characters of our content. So in this instance, it gets cut off mid-sentence, so it kind of doesn't portray very well what I talked about in that blog post. And also, I may want that title to display in a different way in the search engine. Now, you don't have to do that, but I mean, it may be like your website would look better with the words choosing a real estate domain as your title, but then you want to appeal to a different group of people in the search engine, then you could change it, your SEO title in here. So let's just do a quick search so you can see what kind of snippets there are that are shown when you're utilizing like SEO plugins and things like that. And you'll notice that some of them, like this one for homes.com, isn't set, so it cuts off at the end. Ones here like Century 21, they're utilizing a meta description, things like that. So Orlando Sentinel, theirs is quick and succinct. So you can see that our focus keyword is located in almost all of these. Focus keyword being Orlando real estate, which is what I searched for. So whenever you're coming up with your focus keyword or your meta description, have an idea of what you're wanting to be found for, and always think that way when it comes to deciding what you're going to write about for your blog. So in this instance, I'm going to do like real estate domain, or you could even do choosing a real estate domain. And we'll try to figure out why that may or may not be a good idea. But when you're typing in this focus keyword area, I'm going to zoom in a bit so everybody can see really well. If you're typing into this focus keyword area, it's going to start giving you some suggestions along the way. So I'm going to do choosing a real estate. Okay, domain is not in the suggested ones, but if I was doing choosing a real estate agent, a broker, a company to work for, things like that, this is stuff that people are already looking for. So that's kind of a big helper. You can also always click these little guys over here to get a little bit of an explanation. So I'm going to do domain. So we can see automatically that our blog post is going to search through and see how well we're utilizing the words choosing a real estate domain throughout all the content that I've written. So currently it says at the article heading that yes, I'm using choose a real estate domain. At the page title, it's using it. At the page URL, it's using it. Awesome. So I've satisfied 3 out of 5 options already. All right, so if I look here in content, it says no, I haven't used it in the content and I haven't used it in the meta description. So what could I do to get yeses here? I could add it to the content and I could add it to the meta description, which would be me writing my own meta description. Right now, when it pulls it on its own, it's not in an exact order. And that's what it's looking for. It's looking for exactly the phrase, choosing a real estate domain, not looking for how to choose a real estate domain. That's written completely different. It's using the word choose instead of choosing. So it's being very specific, but that's the way it's coded. So for me, I just kind of follow the way it's coded and try to satisfy all the requirements. Like I said again, this is gravy, not the mashed potatoes and steak. It's the extra little oomph that you could use for your search engine optimization. So if we wanted to add this into the content, we need to go through and try to find a place where we could add in the words choosing a real estate domain. So so I have right here the words choosing a domain name. So I could change that out and put choosing a real estate domain name that would satisfy my requirements for putting the focus keyword into the content. And ta-da, it says that I've satisfied that now. So if I wanted to do my meta description next, that's going to be our quick and easy way to try to get someone to choose our website over someone else's. So if we look at some of the ones in here, whoops, if you want to look in some of the ones inside of Google as far as, let's choosing a real estate domain. So if we look at all the ones that are already on the internet, a lot of them cut off, but here's one. Choosing my dad's domain name, part 1 of the 8-step guide to build and market a killer real estate website is to choose a killer domain. So things like that are great choices for meta descriptions. It's a tagline or a selling point on your actual, link that you've already written the content for. So if someone was to go to my website, they would usually come in through the point of contact as the search engine. So if I'm going to put in a meta description, I'm going to put in something like, these are the key things to consider when choosing a real estate domain name. That would satisfy my requirements. Now, I have like 79 more characters I could fill out here. And, I could be a lot more descriptive about what I'm writing about, but I just want to show you, like, these are the things that it's looking for. It's looking to see if this is written here. So it highlighted it, or, it bolded it to be like, okay, it's here, it's here, it's here, done. If I wanted to change how that SEO title would show up inside of the search engines, I can do that with the SEO title here. And that won't change it for our actual website. It will still say choosing a real estate domain, but whenever somebody found it on search engines, it would say something different. The key points to choosing a real estate domain. So it would still be happy with that. And whenever someone looks for this actual kind of thing on search engines, they're going to see that as the title of this page. But when they click on it, they're going to get this as the actual page. So let's go ahead and update it. And this SEO button over here is going to be green because we've satisfied everything. Ta-da! Green is what we want. We want that green light. Now, sometimes you're going to see things like the orange light or yellowish kind of colored light, or the red light, which is going to say bad. And one way to be sure that, other than these pieces here, that you're satisfying all the things that you need to, you can click on Page Analysis. That's the secondary tab to this plugin. And what it does is it tells you kind of all the important things that you could have done to try to make things better for your blog post. Now, on this one, for me, what I do is I look at the ones that are red or orange, because to me that means that these are the most important ones that I'm like way far off on. So I haven't used my keyword, key phrase, in any subheading, such as an H2 in my copy. All right, I can fix that. And the keyword density is at 0.08%, which is a bit low. The keyword was found 1 time. So that's easy to fix too. We just use the keyword more often. A keyword for this page contains 1 or more stop words. Consider removing them. Found A. Now, you're probably curious what a stop word is. A stop word is something like a, the, or, and, things like that. And usually they won't be contained within your URL of your website. And you'll need to update your focus keyword or update your URL. Either is completely possible. But a stop word usually isn't used at all when it comes to a search engine looking for something, because they're way too common for them to take into the equation that they're putting out there, like that algorithm, that fabled algorithm that Google puts into play in order to have a result. So it's usually best to leave them out of your focus keyword. So if you ever have an error, look at your focus keyword and see if you're using a the or an a or an and or things like that that, you know, are usually defined as like not necessary words. Um, and then at the last one was that the copy score is a 69.1, which is considered okay to read. And I'll tell you, 100% honestly, I really never get over 69, 70. And that's just me. I write for my readers, not for the satisfaction of this test to tell me that my score is 100 or anything like that. And don't let that deter you from your writing. It's don't let it bother you at all. Okay, if that's the worst thing you have in this page analysis area, you're golden. Okay, so let's try to satisfy at least this red one, and maybe try to get the three that are orange here happy as well, and then we're going to be even better off, even though we've already got that green light for this SEO Yoast plugin. All right, while I'm doing this, I'm going to send you out a poll, and in that poll, I'm going to be asking if this was your first time attending a webinar, and I'd really appreciate to hear back from you. So, while you're answering that poll, I'm going to go through here and try to get those requirements met. The shorter the better when choosing a real estate domain. All right, this satisfies that first piece because it was asking for me to have the words choosing a real estate domain, which is our focus keyword, in a heading kind of setting. So that automatically puts it into place. Then our next section was that we needed to use our keyword more often. So that automatically put it in there a second time. And let's do it a couple more. Let's see. This is why choosing a domain name, a real estate domain name, because we want it to be right, and let's end it with a good luck on choosing your real estate domain. Choosing a real estate domain name. All right, so let's save or let's update our draft or our actual post because this is already public. And scroll down and let's check our page analysis again. So we've increased our keyword density from 0.03 to 0.33. You know what? For me, I'm totally cool with that. That's good enough. We're not going to change our keyword, focus keyword, so not a big deal. And the last one was the pages on the images on this page do not have alt tags containing your keyword phrase. So there's actually no photos in here. I think that we should add a photo. So let's just add one in at the top. And we're going to do add media and put in this really pretty house. We're going to have it left aligned and we're going to do the size medium. And we're going to need to have our focus keyword in the alt text, and that's this area right here. Now, you may be curious as to what alt text actually is. So back in the day, I can't really have a lot of examples for it nowadays, but remember when you used to try and load a website and the images wouldn't load, but you would see like a box where the image was supposed to be, and you'd see some text in that? Alt text, what it does is it allows search engines or computers in general to know what this image is without looking at it, because it can't see the image, it can only read what the image is. So this is our way of being like, hey, this should help with showing like what this actual image is. So if we go ahead and click here, we need to change out that alt text. And we're going to make it choosing a real estate domain is very important. And that will satisfy that requirement. Insert into the post. Let's update one more time. And we'll scroll back down, click on page analysis, and that one saying that we didn't have a photo in there with alt text is gone. So all it's giving me trouble with now is that my keyword density isn't high enough and that I should use a different one because it has an A in it. Not a big deal. That's okay. So if we go under advanced, there's a bunch of stuff in here that we're never going to use. The meta robots follow and things like that. If we leave this all default, we're going to be fine when it comes to this blog post. But there's an additional feature inside of the SEO Yoast plugin that I do want to show you, because a lot of people will ask whenever it comes to sharing these blog posts or pages on social media. There's a photo that will display when you're going to, share your link. And I want you to be able to be in full control of what that photo is. So if we go view this post and try to share it, and we click here and we click on this, and it's automatically pulling this one blog photo, and I can scroll through a couple of different ones, and there's the one I'm actually using on the blog post, but this really it's not really how I want this blog post to be represented. So there's a couple of ways to change that. And inside of our SEO Yoast plugin, there's an area that says social. Now, if you're in basic, you're not going to see this. You're going to have to click back to your default layout for your Piggyback blog. So let's go under SEO, and go under the section called social. Now, in order for us to be able to use any of those special things inside of our blog posts or pages, we need to fill in some options here underneath the accounts area. So if my Facebook page URL is facebook.com hello brandco, or my Twitter URL is hello brandco, then I go ahead and click save these settings. And if I open up a new tab and look to create a new post, there's going to be a new option. I guess there isn't. Give me 1 second. We're almost there. All right. So aside from that, we still have to click on Facebook and click to do add open graph metadata and save. And we would then also click on Twitter and click add Twitter card metadata and click save. So let's reload this and see if that social tab comes up now. Yes, yay, it did. All right, so originally we only had 3 tabs and now we have 4, and the last one being social. So you'll see that there's sections in here that says Facebook title, Facebook description, Facebook image, Facebook title, Twitter image, title, description, and you can specifically say, like, if this blog post is being shared on Facebook specifically, then I want this image to show up. If I'm sharing this blog post on Twitter, it needs to be in this kind of format. And it'll do it for you upon clicking publish or sharing. If you have your publicize thing set up through Jetpack, then it does the rest of the work for you, no big deal. Let's say that every time you share your blog post on Facebook, or your blog in general on Facebook, you want it to show the exact same image every single time because you have this really awesome Brandco logo that we've made for you, and you want to share it out with every time you share out content on social media. You can do that as well inside of the SEO social area. So if we click on Facebook, there's an option here where you can do the default setting of your image URL. And you can click on upload image, and grab my face or your face or your logo and click Save Images, then every time my blog gets shared out, then it's going to have that image shared with it in Facebook. So that really saves us some trouble. Like, let's say we wrote a blog post that didn't have an image in it, then it's always going to at least have that default image attached to it for Facebook. And you can do this with Twitter and Pinterest and Google as well. So it really helps trying to save that time. Like, yeah, you have to put the time up front, but it gives you a little bit more leeway for how your site looks whenever it gets shared by yourself or by others. So there's that big option that you're able to, manipulate that. Um, Also, and we were talking about titles and metas earlier, then you can also maintain a default one inside of titles and meta under SEO as well. So you can change what your homepage template looks like, your post types, and that would be your default one unless you set one like we did earlier. So, a real estate agent that works really hard in this specific area or something like that. And anytime someone shared a post and I didn't set a meta description, then, it's going to have this one attached to it, ta-da, automatically. And if I always have at least an image set under social, then it's always going to show that too. So, all right, that covers everything that I have to cover for you today as far as that SEO Yoast plugin. Now, this has been recorded, and you can review it later if I moved a little fast for you today. But it's a lot of content, and I wanted to get it in within the first 30 minutes and give you all the opportunity to ask questions. So at this time, I'm also going to give you a secondary poll, and thank you for doing the first one. I see that we're about 50-50 when it comes to people that have or have not attended a webinar in the past, and I appreciate everybody answering that. To those that are returning, thanks for coming again, and those that are new, I hope you'll start joining us every week. I cover a new topic every week, and at this time, I'm also going to ask you what you might like to cover for next week. So I'm going to go ahead and launch that poll now. And if there's something on there, something that isn't on there that you're wanting to cover, just go ahead and send that question out to me. I do have my first question, and I'll get to that in just a second. Let's just go back to our post area and take one last look at that social area that's available once we have added the option to control the meta data within the social area inside of SEO. So it's just like when we put in a specific title for SEO or for search engines and a specific description, which was called the meta description, then you're able to utilize and change out how things are shared depending on the social media that you're making sure that this gets sent out to. So also at this time, it looks like everybody's wanting to either cover the Jetpack plugin or the WolfNet WordPress plugin next week. And at this time, I also haven't covered the WolfNet WordPress plugin fully, and I think that would be a great thing. So that's what I'll cover for you guys for the next 2 weeks. I'll cover Jetpack the week after next, and next week will actually be the WolfNet WordPress plugin. I appreciate everybody answering in the poll, and I love making sure that the information that I'm going to give to you is what you are actually going to want to hear. All right, so the question that I received from Sharon was, how do you find out if our blog is effective, just like Google Analytics? Well, there's a couple of ways. One big thing that we utilize here at Branco is that is a site index. And that site index can be grabbed from Google or Bing or Yahoo or anything like that. And what that does is that checks to see how many pages you have actually generated inside of your blog. So for instance, if we did site:/brandco.com, this is going to check to see how many pages are all available inside of Brandco that have been indexed by Google. And currently there's 1,220. So that's not that bad. We're not trying to be found too difficultly when it comes to like indexing inside of Google currently. But let's, for instance, do site colon luxhomesmn.com, which is another website that we utilize. That website has 18,000 results. That's a lot of pages that Google gets to choose from when it comes time to, you know, recommend them for someone's question that they've asked the search engine. So they have a really great chance to be found. But the thing is that we need to know what their actual, what they're wanting to be found for me to be able to show you that they would probably show up on the first page of Google. So that's something to consider. The more pages, the more content you know that they have, and the much more likelihood that Google or Bing or Yahoo is going to choose them as an option for someone's query that they've put into Google or Yahoo or Bing. So that's one way to see how effective your site is being. Aside from that, there's the option of the Jetpack plugin, which has an option in there called Site Stats, and that's usually automatic because it's just already on when it comes to Jetpack. Now, there's no site stats being shown here on my website because I don't get any traffic to my website. This is a demo website, which is, in a result, is not going to get traffic because I'm not promoting it. But if I was, then I would see like per day or per week or per month, per year, how many posts have been looked at and things like that. That's one great way to like keep a track of, is my site being visited. Another way to do that would be the Google Analytics. And there's a couple of ways you can connect that, and that depends on whether or not you're using your e-agency as your primary website, or if you're one of the people that recently went straight to WordPress, which is, your entire website is on your Piggyback blog. So there's a way to set up either of them when it comes to Google Analytics. I have a couple of videos as far as like how you set up Google Analytics, and if you need that specifically, I would love it if you would send me an email so I can connect with you and make sure that we're getting you set up the proper way. And my email address is Tracy, Tracy @brandco.com. So that's how I would say you can check to see how effective your website is. Also, I mean, of course, if you're getting leads from your website, obviously it's effective. But definitely, the more you write, the better off you're going to be. I promise you that. Content is something that is on the internet forever. It's very important. There are blog posts that show up from us here at Branco that have like one string of text in it of us like promoting a website or something that we made years ago, but it's really high up in the search engines for that person if I was to look for them, just randomly. And, just because you put something in there today and you don't feel like you're getting enough traffic on it, maybe someone's going to be looking at it next year or 5 years down the road. Content is forever, and it's never going to go anywhere. And as long as you keep the website, or at least you keep the content, even if you move from like one domain to another or from one website to another, keep the content so that it's out there and helping you out as long as you let it exist. All right, so do we have any other additional questions? All right. So if anybody's running a question, I'm going to ramble on for a few minutes. If you have any additional questions, you can always feel free to reach out to me by email, by scheduling an appointment with me, all of that. I have this great page that I've made on our Branco website called a Piggyback Blog Guide. If you have friends that haven't registered for our webinars and you think they could really benefit by joining us, there's a link to register for that. There's a link here to see all the webinars that we've previously had. There's a link for tutorials, scheduling a call with me. There's just so much on this page. It's awesome because it's one place for everything that involves helping me helping you with this Piggyback blog. So that URL is brandco.com/piggy-back. Piggyback-blog-guide, and I'm sharing it in the chat window if you wanted to just click on it from there. That's going to have everything all in one place. So if you feel like you would benefit by a direct phone call from me, you can schedule a call that works around your schedule in this area as well as just registering for um, the, the webinars that are coming up as well. So at this time, we don't have any additional questions, and I appreciate everybody participating in the polls that I've asked you today, as well as showing up. If you have any blogging questions aside from what we've covered today, let me know. I'm here for you. And I'll see you again next week. Thanks again.